So in the second part, we're looking at what Jordan's relaying from Gatsby to Nick. And he did expect her to wander into one of his parties, but that hasn't exactly gone to plan. And we would expect that because East Eggers and West Eggers come from totally different social stratospheres, and it would have been unlikely that Daisy would have gone to one of those parties alone, and that Tom would have condoned that sort of association. Now, Gatsby's trying to get Nick involved in encouraging Daisy to come over to Nick's house. She goes on here, when I said you were a particular friend of Tom's, he started to abandon the whole idea. He doesn't know very much about Tom, though he says he's read a Chicago paper for years, just on the chance of catching a glimpse of Daisy's name. It was dark now, and the pathetic fallacy is not lost on us, and we certainly see it in later scenes when Daisy does turn up at Nick's house and she meets Gatsby for real. And as we dipped under a little bridge, I put my arm around Jordan's golden shoulder and drew her toward me and asked her to dinner. Suddenly I wasn't thinking of Daisy and Gatsby anymore, but of this clean, hard, limited person who dealt in universal skepticisms and who leaned back jauntily just within the circle of my arm. Now we get an idea of what Jordan's like here. We sort of wandered away from Daisy. She seems real and tangible and practical, and for Nick at this moment, who is seeming to grapple between the ambitions and fantasies of Gatsby and the reality of Jordan and the practicality of this arrangement, we see that he's quite enamoured with this practical Jordan by his side. He goes on and says, a phrase began to beat in my ears with a sort of heady excitement. There are only the pursued, the pursuing, the busy and the tired. And he sums up American society here. We're either chasing the dream, we're being pursued by people who want what we have, we're so busy we don't know what's going on, or we're exhausted by the enormity of this dream that we can't achieve because we're too poor, we have to work too hard, and the possibility of being happy is beyond the realm of possibility. Jordan says, well, she murmurs, and this is quite seductive, Daisy ought to have something in her life, as though she is too bored, too unable to be happy, that perhaps a little tryst with Gatsby might give her something, some sort of purpose. Now, we pass the barrier of dark trees and then the facade of 59th Street. A block of delicate pale light beamed down into the park. Unlike Gatsby and Tom Buchanan, I had no girl whose disembodied face floated along dark cornices and blinding signs. And so I drew up the girl beside me, tightening my arms. Isn't this interesting? Nick is painting himself as someone who has no ambition, no real dream, nothing beautiful to pursue. So he says, I may as well have what is here in front of me, this very practical view of achieving what you want to achieve.